Good evening and welcome to episode 18 of Whisky Without the Guff. Tonight, Stu and I are going to attempt to turn Bob, who's back in town, to the dark side with the help of these fine whiskies. So this is a Glenmorangie 15, a Glenmorangie Nectar d'Or, a Glenlivet Nadura, and finally a Glendronach 18. Now, the reason we're trying this is Bob was coming to town and it occurred to me that he's a wine guy. Now face it, anybody can drink wine. See all the hackles going up. The fact that, wine was my first ever drink, I remember in Scotland. It was a rather cheap wine from the vineyards behind Clydebank in Greenock. I think it was bottled in Greenock, and it had two main virtues, this stuff. I won't mention it because I don't want to be sued. One was that it was cheap, and the other is that it was very strong. So you could get drunk, and at a young age that seemed to make a whole lot of sense. In any event, I think it takes a wee bit. I mean, you can go into any place and buy wine. You can go, and they ask you these interesting questions like, would you like a 6 ounce or a 9 ounce? Can you imagine if they did that with Scotch? You say, I'll have a XYZ, and they go, you want a 9 ounce? And you, foolish not to really. 9 ounces, my God. It'd be a great world. So we got a ways to go. But anyway, I got thinking, how do you get somebody who's into wine and convert them into at least trying out Scotch? So we tried to find a wine tasting whiskey. I was to learn later in life that that's not such easy, and that's what we've done here. So without further ado, we'll get on with it with Bob. So, good evening. Here we have Stu, you know him, and Bob. If you've been following all these episodes, you saw Bob wandered into town one day and we had him taste some whiskey, so we're going to taste some more. And what we're trying to do is find out if Bob, being a wine drinker, if there's a whiskey or whiskies that wine drinkers would prefer. So we've got 4 whiskies. The first one is Glenmorangie 15. It's 43%. So the point of this is just to show you what a whiskey is like. It's got nothing to do with wine. This is just, okay, here's a whiskey. Now these other things are sort of departures from the whiskey with a wine bent, if you like. So did that make it better or worse or what? For you?
We'll see if we won after this, or
anyway. So numero uno.
Okay.
Glenmorangie 18. 18 or 15? 15. Which is a lovely whiskey. It's a nice, clean. I chose this one because it's not terribly peaty. It's not terribly mild. It's not. It may well have already been exposed because it's very hard to find a whiskey that hasn't gone into some kind of sherry cask these days.
Yeah.
And this may or may not, but it hasn't been gone into a sherry cask with an intent to make it taste like sherry. Mm-hmm. It may be just to tone it down a wee bit. So anyway, this is
it smells wonderful.
It's got a lovely nose. I mean, it's not too harsh, but lots of information in that.
Not too shabby a taste either.
No.
Man could get used to that.
So that's
lovely.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice, I'd say, mild Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's a little more mild than mild.
A little more what?
A little more than mild.
Yeah,
I'd say a stiff breeze.
You're because you're a wine drinker.
Yeah, you're a woody, cinnamon, and
blackberries.
Yeah, the only difference between
facing slope.
Yeah, 5,000 feet, I think. The only difference between you guys and the whiskey guys is that the stuff you get notes and hints of are quite different. They're all things like, I'm sensing butterflies, and whereas in Scotch it's all stuff like bonfires, tarry rope, creosote, dead ducks.
Used boots.
Yeah, I'm getting a
Tasting
sweaty,
like some old bodies.
sweaty welly here.
Well, not any welly, a green one. A green welly.
Green welly, aye.
All right.
That's a famous thing.
Why did you
Yeah.
drink all of yours? Are we gonna come back?
Well,
You can, yeah.
Oh.
There's other whiskey downstairs.
No, okay.
I mean, you will not be deprived.
Well, I
of
want to go
what-
back and see what the difference is.
Okay.
it'll be a,
So, number 2 is the same distillery. This is Glenmorangie, but this is Nectar d'Or. Now, this was stuck in a Sauterne white wine cask for some indeterminate length of time. So this is an attempt to get more of a wine sensation into the whiskey. It's why you smell it right off the bat.
It's a much
yeah, I was gonna
milder
say you
bouquet.
you can smell the wine.
Well, at least you can smell that something's happened
I haven't
to.
had this for a long time, but
I mean, they've not tried to make it not whiskey, but they've obviously tried to make it something. So is that better or worse? Though? I mean, it's a different whiskey to the first one, even though it's the same
Well,
distillery.
it is more gentle on your
yes,
on the finish.
it's much less dramatic in your throat and in your chest. You know, it's not. You don't get the big burn.
No fireball.
It's nice.
It is a smooth, nice and smooth.
Maybe that's the key with wine drinkers, is to get them Auchentoshan or something,
Yeah, it could be.
or Balvenie.
It's tasty. It's a milder bouquet.
I'm almost smelling, almost like a perfumey smell of it.
Well, I think that's the wine. I mean, Sauterne is pretty.
Good. I like it.
Okay, so the next one is Nadula, I think. Yep. A couple of other differences. That last one, even though it tasted milder, that was 46% alcohol by volume, where the first one was only 43.
Wow.
The next one, though, is cask strength. So it's 60.4.
Woo, baby.
Now, if you want to get what you Americans call proof, you would simply double that. So this is about 120% proof. That's number 3.
And what is its claim to fame? I mean, and why?
It's
How
it's very hard to find whiskey that's based on wine.
right. So what's the connection here?
So this is Oloroso cask. So this is sherry casks.
Yeah.
So it's not quite wine, but I mean the options you have. The bulk of it is
This smells
sherry,
more wine.
and then there's stuff, and I've got a couple downstairs that are based on a port finish. Now, port, I guess, is strictly speaking a wine, but the fact that you're a wine drinker doesn't mean you're a port drinker,
No,
and vice
No,
versa.
not at all.
Wow.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favourite so far.
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
Now that's a Glenlivet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So Glenlivet's Speyside. The Glenmorangie distillery is a wee bit further up the road in Tain. So I guess it's classed as a Highland whiskey, but this is a Speyside for sure. It's very tasty, I like it. Yeah. Now the fourth one,
Oh, I just realized they taste. I thought they were going to go this way, and realized that's the number 3.
what were you drinking there then?
So I tasted the Glendronach.
So this last one is a Glendronach. Now this is an 18-year-old, and it's a 46% alcohol by volume. Now Glendronach, I think, you'll see this spends most of its life in a sherry cask. All right,
So why did they choose sherry rather than oak or?
No,
it's
they're all
it's
the
the
old
oak.
barrel, but it's had sherry.
Oh, I
in it.
see. It's had sherry wines.
Yeah,
in
it was
it
so
before.
they
But what-
aged sherry wine in it, and then
Yeah.
Is sherry special in the sense of?
Well, they don't just use any old sherry. They specifically tend to use Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez. I don't drink sherry, but these are apparently quite nice sherries. It probably started by cheapness. They were getting a deal on sherry casks, and then they discovered, oh, tastes quite good. And now they've gone through. They get into this. Oh, it's only been used once,
yeah,
as opposed to it's whatever they're not wanting anymore.
right. So that Nectar d'Or was from casks that were used to store Sauterne wine.
This is excellent too, but I like the 3 better.
Yeah, I would have to say I do too.
I'm not sure. I might like this better. The Nadura has more taste. It's got more of a distinct taste than this is expensive stuff. In that,
The Glendronach. Yeah.
well, this 18, it's about I think it's about $200 a bottle.
Woo, baby!
So it's getting up there, but it's not. It's fairly smooth stuff. I
It's
think.
very smooth.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for, is sort of smooth cigars, stuff like that, rather than
I mean, it's
a
delicious.
knockout blow.
This one has number 3 has more of a finishing taste to it.
It could be. I tend to like Scotch that tastes like Scotch.
Yeah.
So I'm probably the wrong person to be doing this, but it wasn't done for me. It was done for you to see if these kind of taste profiles
So I'll
would
go back.
make you more attracted to it than otherwise.
I like the nose on the Glendronach.
Me too.
I don't know how to describe it. To me, it tastes old. It tastes
Maybe
old. It tastes
maybe it
aged,
does. Yeah, I think you're right.
and it's sort of I don't know,
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
gentleman's club kind of aura about it.
Just
it's-
smash a glass of
Yeah,
two Bob. I mean, get
Just
it right.
imagine what it would be like.
Throw them in the fireplace.
I was
and
going to
get
say, it's a good thing you don't have a fireplace.
I was going to say at 48%.
That's what Steve does all the time.
Does he?
Oh, he loves smashing glasses.
Does he?
Well, he hasn't smashed one yet, but he's come perilously close.
The Nadura is, I mean, I like them both, but the Nadura strikes me as cleaner. It's cleaner, fresher, whereas the Glendronach, basically says, hey, I'm old. I've been around. It's interesting. Considering that the Nadura has such a high alcohol content.
Maybe that's why I like
it's
it.
clean, I suppose.
Well, I like it. I like a lot of alcohol in my whiskey as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of alcohol in my injections, or anything in my air, my milk even.
They're all, they're all fine.
Well, there are no bad whiskeys,
No.
let's face it.
But I think I
Well,
like 3 the best.
Not on the table right now. I don't even know of a bad one. I do, but it's a blend.
Oh, yeah.
And I relate that to a night of discovering whiskey when I was a young hooligan in Scotland. So even the smell of this stuff puts me want to throw up. And I'm not a throw up kind of guy.
Good to know.
I think if I were wanting to sip socially for several hours, I'd choose the Glendronach. And if I was going for one, I would do the Nadura.
Well,
Because it's more distinctive.
that's good input. I mean, see, I don't frequent your social scene, so I wouldn't be out there with the wine guys going, did one see the horse race on Sunday? Are you up for polo this weekend, Bob?
I'm not a very good shot, so I don't.
You're not a very good shot at polo.
No.
I wouldn't know. I never played polo.
I guess to me the distinctive thing amongst the four, well, obviously the Glenmorangie is just straight up good whiskey, but the Nectar d'Or actually tastes like wine. I mean, it has the flavor of wine layered on top of the whiskey, whereas I don't get sherry or port out of the Nadura or the
Well, there's no port.
Glendronach, but I mean, I do get a richer
It's port downstairs.
flavor. Yeah,
I've got 2 port ones.
yeah.
So what about where these are made? Are they all the same area or?
No. The Glenmorangie is up in Tain, which is just north of Inverness. The Nadura is Glenlivet, which is right in the middle of Speyside. And the Glendronach is just go from Speyside towards Aberdeen. When you're halfway there, you're in
there.
Glendronach land. Allardyce.
How
So
big
we-
of an industry is this in Scotland as far as, do you know?
It's about it's the size of a few professional soccer teams. I think it's about £5.5 billion a year.
That's a lot of pounds.
And it's been like that since pounds actually meant something. No, it's one of the highest contributors to the UK's GDP.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Does it go through the Suez Canal?
Some of it, I'm sure, does. But they don't ship it nowadays. They used to ship it in bottles, in cardboard boxes of 12, but now it's shipped in containers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they bottle it someplace when it lands in Japan or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So, anything else?
No, I think not.
That was lovely.
Are there any of those? I've got 2 whiskies downstairs outside. I should explain, we're going, this is every Wednesday, except this is a Thursday. We have a pub night, because of the COVID, we've been having our pub nights at somebody's house. This week it's my house. And normally when we're drinking here, we go out the back, we get a nice wee fire pit, although the fire's not working.
And it's
Just
not
changed the
Wednesday.
gas and it's still, but we can imagine flames. And
Burn wood.
we normally we drink beer, but we have a couple of whiskies as well. So, is there any of these ones that you want to drink more of that I'll bring down?
No, I don't think so. What did you have planned for downstairs? And what do you have?
Well,
right
I
now?
don't want to tape that, so I'll tell you in a minute.
Well, then we can always come up, right? If we,
Oh, I can come back and get more if
Yeah.
or something different.
I was going to say, do we only
Yeah.
have these 4 choices? I mean, I
I'll
see
try,
like
I'll try
100
whatever
over.
you.
No, we've
that's,
got a few more than these choices.
Thinking.
yeah. 1 or 2 more. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. In summary, the mission to convert Bob wasn't very successful, but perhaps the most difficult bit of that was trying to find a wine tasting Scotch. I'm convinced, having tried pretty hard, the closest we got was the Nectar d'Or, Glenmorangie in the Sauterne cask, but there really is no such thing. I think probably the takeaway for me would be if you get a nice, not mild exactly, but something like the the Glenmorangie 15 or a Macallan 15. Something that's a smooth tasting Scotch. That's about the best shot you got. It's certainly not finding something that tastes like wine, because in spite of the fact that they're putting a lot of whiskey in, especially sherry casks, but they're experimenting with all kinds of things, including wine, it's not the right approach. So for completeness sake, here's the whiskies up there and the percentage alcohol by volume, and also the price. So you can see that the Glendronach is twice the price of everything else. Nice whiskey, but they're all nice whiskies. Up there and the percentage alcohol by volume, and also the price. So you can see that the Glendronach is twice the price of everything else. Nice whiskey, but they're all nice whiskies. In any event, our next episode is going to be about Mike and Mortlach. So I will see you then. Bye for now.